Hello everybody, Randy Patrick here. Welcome to Housing Bubble 2.0 News of the Week, or as I like to call it, another episode of As the Housing Market Turns. Today is Tuesday, July the 9th. Hope everyone had a great long weekend or holiday week for 4th of July, whatever you guys did. Hope it all worked out well for you. Everyone's happy and relaxed. Lots to talk about. Nothing really too major in news. A lot of little tidbits today. And again, we'll take a look at what's going on here. But first of all, if you could please help my channel grow by clicking subscribe, that'd be most appreciated. Thank you very much. Today we shall talk about the following: Deutsche Bank imploding. National Association of Realtor propaganda. They are stoking the fires again. How many homes are needed in the marketplace? Urban, Suburban, and Exurbs. That's a new one for us. How long does it take a homeowner to reduce their listing price? Mortgage debt, apartment demand, and that's it for today. So let's get into it right away now. So I guess what's been dominating the news the past few days has been Deutsche Bank. And how it affects us, we're not too sure. This is a global bank. Obviously, they're based in Germany, and they're basically laying off 18,000 people, trying to cut costs, do what they need to do to remain afloat. It's one of those situations where another too big to fail bank has to restructure. Lots going on here. So how does it affect us in the real estate market? Well, I know that Deutsche Bank's been a player in the real estate market for years, and my point though is that if I go back in time to the last housing crisis, we did a lot of deals where we were short selling properties and Deutsche Bank was the lender. And what we found though is that they were one of the lenders that actually gave us some pretty good discounts on the deals that we were going after. So that it really helped us earn money, acquire property, whatever we were doing with it. Now, so they were, that's one thing. So they were good at giving discounts. Now, historically, they've always seemed to have issues. And what I mean by that, they've always seemed to have legacy issues with respect to documentation and producing the notes on the mortgage, the actual original copies and things like that. Now, back in the last housing crisis, a lot of banks imploded, a lot of banks failed, so larger banks gobbled up the assets and things were transferred. So there's going to be issues that come along with that. But I always felt that Deutsche Bank seemed to have more than their fair share of issues for whatever reason. So what I do find today is that there's lots of legacy pre-foreclosures hanging around from that era that are Deutsche Bank loans, which is interesting. And as I said, they do have a history of poor documentation and record keeping, just the nature of the beast here. So now that they're in this situation where they're cutting massive amount of people across the board, how many they're going to hit in the U.S. here, I don't know. But I think this is a good time to go after, distressed property assets that are Deutsche Bank owned, or at least they're backing, because they're looking for cash. They're looking to reduce exposure, reduce the overhead, bring cash, value back into their organization. So what I already did the weekend, I looked at least for the past 6 months, like since January to where we are today, of pre-foreclosure filings in our county here, and I looked at what were Deutsche Bank, and there's a fair number of them which are great. So I'm going to amp up the marketing and try to hit those people, often and a little harder, just because I believe that when banks are in this situation, there certainly is some fallout, and whether that's lack of staff, whether they're going to cut corners and cut costs, or whether they're going to be more willing to settle for lower amounts. That's what I'm sort of gambling on. So that's where I'm going to focus on my efforts the next few weeks. So that's something to keep in mind as you go forward. Excuse me, NAR, National Association of Realtors. Every so often they got to throw a couple of lob a few grenades at us, and we sort of see what's going on with them. But their propaganda is at work again. It's stoking the fire as far as I'm concerned. So just a little while ago, I pulled this before I started the video, and they said that the number of for sale listings was up 2.8% annually in June, but it was that was down from May's 2.9% gain. Inventory gains began to slow this year from 6.4% growth in January to 5.8% February. Gains continued to slow throughout the spring, and so gains continue to slow throughout the spring, and supply is now expected to flatten over the next 3 months and could hit the first decline in October of this year, according to Realtor.com. So they're basically saying, based on the trend that they see, they believe that they're going to have some declines in inventory, which, what's the purpose of that? Oh, and we have not seen this person in a while here. I just heard her approach. This is the famous Bubble Kitty. She's not a kitty anymore. She's pretty much a full-grown cat. She's about a year old. So anyway, this is what we got to deal with. So she'll hang around here for a bit until she likes paper for some reason. That's the deal. So that's the scoop. All right, got to go. I'm doing my video. Say bye. Okay. All right, well, she's going to roll around, so I'm trying to be distracted. But anyway, the whole point with these guys is that Daniel Hale, the chief economist for Realtor.com, there's been a lackluster response in low mortgage rates, but they do spark fresh buyer interest late in the year. Inventory could set new record lows this winter. So what that basically means is that it's almost like saying, hey guys, go out and buy property now. Why? Because there may not be property when you need it in the fall if you wait long enough. So that's the scoop on that. So anyway, I'm going to get rid of her here. So she's made an appearance. We haven't seen her for a little while. So there she goes. All right, so again, I look at it going more Realtor.com, just sort of, they've got to do something to stimulate the marketplace. Obviously, sales are down. They see the market sliding a bit here too. So, it's, why is this issue going on? Well, it's a combination of, they say, rate lock, decreased consumer confidence, and older generations choosing to age in place. So therefore, there's real estate inventory not hitting the marketplace now. And again, when rates are low, what does that mean? Well, refinances happen. So more people are choosing to refinance. When we take a look at applications, so applications are up all the time. It's because of low interest rates, clearly, but refinancing is at least half those applications as opposed to purchase applications. So more people are refinancing. Maybe they decided that to move up or move down is going to be too costly, and they may be in a different price point, which they don't want to engage right now. So again, just, every so often Realtor.com or the National Association of Realtors throws a little something over the edge to say, hey, you guys, go buy property. And whether it's the right thing to do or not, who knows, but they're predicting, could hit its first decline in inventory in October of this year. Now, what we saw last year is, if I recall, once July, August ended, September, we actually saw more inventory coming on the marketplace because people felt that they had sort of missed that opportunity to sell at the peak. So we'll see if that happens again. I do believe September starts a greater slide than we've experienced in the past number of years. So anyway, these guys are stoking the fire. There you go. So now, speaking of Realtor.com, there's a huge gap in between what homeowners want and what is actually for sale. And according to them, there needs to be 94,000 more homes in the marketplace that are priced between $100,000 and $340,000 to achieve what they call equilibrium in the marketplace. So Realtor.com did a study, found that there's a gap between what home buyers want to buy at a certain price point and what's actually going on with listed prices. So half of today's home shoppers want to purchase a property for under $288,000, a study found, and that's a 9.1% or $27,000 decrease below the median price of homes currently on the marketplace. So again, people who want to buy, their target is actually less than the median price. Clearly, we'd like to get homes at cheaper prices. That's not a problem here. That would represent a 15% increase. So if 94,000 homes came in the market in that range, that's a 15% increase in the supply of homes, which could make a difference to certainly a number of people in that affordable housing range. That's where I look at affordable housing, that sort of, 300, sub 300 less, that's where we're looking at here. Now, if you want to go along with that mindset, so people are, as they're looking for more affordable homes, what do? They drive out of the urban core. So it's almost like you drive until you can afford. That's what's been going on. So a little study was done here. It talks about the suburban explosion. So where do Americans live by community type? Well, the urban core counties, 98 million people live in the urban core. Suburbs and small metros, 175 million people live there. And the rural communities account for 46 million people. That all adds up to about, guess what? Probably about 320 million people, rough, give or take, right away there. So the point, though, is that more and more people will drive farther out to afford a place. Now, what does that mean? Is that a quality of life change? Well, maybe the quality of life is better. Smaller communities, your price points are better, but the flip side is that, guess what? Now, if you're working in downtown core or close to a major city, your commute time is going up. So it really boils down to, do you value your price point and getting into a home that you can afford and live and enjoy versus how much commute time in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening you're going to be doing. So that's the trade-off here. And just so we can define now, urban, suburban, we all know what that is, but exurban or exurbs is like the new word now. So exurbs can be defined as settled regions beyond the boundaries of the suburbs of a city or major metropolitan area. In some cases, the exurbs may be rural in nature, although some are more densely built. All have relatively low population density. So more of a small town community, small town feel, but we're going to see those locations slowly start to grow as time goes on, as more and more people get priced out of a downtown core. It's the way it goes. And speaking of which, if you're looking for a house, most home sellers wait a certain time on average before dropping their listing price. So of course, as more inventory comes in the marketplace, there's more competition among sellers. Sellers have to price their homes accordingly, have to look at the market and react in order to get their house sold. So according to a recent survey by a platform called Shelter Zoom, they took 1,000 consumer survey. 33% of the consumers surveyed would opt for a price reduction after 3 months, making it the most common choice. In today's day and age, I think that's a long time to wait to drop your price, 3 months. Just under 20% say they would wait 1 month, while 17% would wait 5 months. So, and for about 9%, it would take an entire year before they would reconsider their price. Well, there you go. So the point, though, is that it's all about listing price and being attractive off the get-go. We believe, and a lot of people out there believe, that a lot of homeowners and sellers are still clinging to the hopes that the higher listing price is going to net them more opportunity, more money, and that their price still supports what the market wants. Well, if we go back to what was just spoken about over here with respect to price points, the median home price, buyers want to buy 9.1% below the median home price, half the buyers. So that tells you right there, more cost effective your home is, the quicker you're going to sell and you can move on. But again, does that make sense for you? Do you want to cash out? Do you have high debt load? Who knows? But the point is, there's a situation here. I do believe that 3 months is too long to wait. Typically after 30 days, if you don't get bites, you should be dropping price. Now, this, I guess, unfortunately, is also dependent on, number one, the seller's desire as to where they want to start off, but also the real estate listing agent's, I guess you could say, input as to where the home should be priced. So if we know we're in a declining market, which we are right now, if we know we've seen year-over-year price deceleration, which we spoke about last video, you have to, as a real estate agent, look down the road and go, okay, if I list a property today, say roughly it takes 30 days on average to get a contract or longer, and then closing time frame, we're looking at about a 90-day spread there from start to finish on average. Well, you gotta envision where prices are going to be. So being a little more aggressive is going to get buyers in the door, get the homes noticed a little quicker, and probably get a deal on the table, as opposed to keeping a higher listing price. Now, how that works, though, is that every homeowner believes their property is worth more than it actually is, or you self-justify what your house is worth. So a lot of agents, to win listing agreements, what they're going to do with their competition, they're going to suggest or sort of keep in line with the desire of the homeowner to get that listing price where they want it to be. Now, you can always reduce your listing price as time goes on. Maybe the sale takes a bit longer, but it's tough to always raise your listing price. That's kind of the situation there. So again, this is not, I guess you could say, unfounded here, but I think that people need to be a little more realistic in this day and age. Real estate is changing. Change is coming. And if we're not really looking at the future, keeping your home listed at the same price for 3 months, you're not getting refreshes. It's being looked over. People who are coming back to look again have already seen it. They've seen the price. They're not interested. So there you go. You're not doing yourself any service. So, but further looking to the survey, 48% say they think it takes too long to get a mortgage approved, and 36% saying the contracts take too long to sign, and 34% saying too many people are involved. So, when asked what would make the home process, a lot easier, 48% said they'd like to ensure that their offer was presented to the seller and track the offer every step of the way. So if there are multiple offer opportunities, or maybe it's a lower offer, you don't really know whether your offer is getting given to the real estate agent. Is that offer being presented to to the homeowner? And you don't know sometimes. And I think a lot of times agents can be the gatekeeper and can inflict or impose their perspective or desire ahead of the homeowner sometimes. We've seen that before, so keep that in mind. But as I mentioned, right now the process is too slow, too inefficient, too opaque, and too expensive, and it's been that way for too long, which I'd have to agree. So as we talked about before, with artificial intelligence, with the iBuyers, with all the investment these days that's going on in tech companies to support the real estate industry, change is coming, and people better be aware of that and expect that down the road. All right, talking about mortgages. These are the top 10 states where homeowners have the most mortgage debt. I'm assuming you can guess the number one state is what? California. So California has the number one mortgage debt. Hawaii is number 2, all the way from Maryland, Massachusetts at number 4, Washington, New Jersey. I'm missing number 7. Oh, Virginia, New York, Colorado, and Connecticut. So what do we see? We see some a couple West Coast locations, and we see some Eastern Seaboards, and of course Colorado right in the middle. So there you go. This is not a surprise. We know what's happening in these locations. We see year-over-year price declines in some of these areas going quicker than most. So again, it seems to make sense here, but I'll see if I can put this up on the community tab later on today so you can take a look at it. But the point though is that this is the top 10. Apparently the state with the least amount of mortgage debt, in case you're wondering, is West Virginia. There you go, an average debt with $114,000, which is pretty low these days. All right, and just to sort of end off here, apartment rental demand soars as more millennials believe it's cheaper than owning a home. So apartment demand in the second quarter of this year spiked 11% from a year ago. So more people are looking to rent, have decided to rent. That pushed rents up an average of 3% nationally across the board, according to RealPage, a real estate software and analytics company. Despite the increase, 82% of renters say renting is still more affordable than owning, and that's based on a survey from Freddie Mac, and that's up from 67% from a year ago. So when we take a look at affordability, if that's a 15% increase in, I guess we'll call it renter sentiment from a year ago. So affordability really is the essential factor that's maybe whether it's true or not, but we know that it certainly plays a big part of it. That's the sort of main mindset going, if why would I want to buy now because I can't afford it? I'm going to rent, I'm going to see what happens and watch the marketplace hash out. So that's kind of the scoop here. So demand for rent is currently highest in the largest cities: Dallas-Fort Worth, Chicago, Houston, New York City, and Washington, D.C., all leading the pack with rental demand. So there you go. So that's it, guys, for today. Want to say, number one, thank you for the views, the likes, and the comments. I appreciate that. Please share the video with your friends and colleagues if you could. Again, helps the channel grow, and subscribe if you already haven't. Feel free to contact me with all your real estate needs and questions. I know some of you have. We're playing a bit of tag to catch up back and forth. And again, if you're looking to purchase a property or looking to invest, looking to get involved with the distressed property marketplace, I can certainly help you with that. We've got a lot of advice here, some training courses, ways to help you buy property that is cheaper so you never pay retail again. That's the game plan as we go forward, never pay retail. So again, once again, thank you very much. Good seeing you guys again today, and look forward to another video later on this week. Thank you.